Hey YouTube, this is another Prepper One. This is what I worked on today. If you remember, that right there was just a bank and it came down pretty steep. It was hard to cut the grass right there. So we tried to make it more finished looking and put the railroad ties in there, add a little dirt, just to make it look better. Plus it'll be easier to cut when that grass comes in. And when it heavy rains, sometimes the dirt would come off the hill. And just because Nate would always drive his Jeep and sort of park over there and his tires would just tear up the grass. So this sort of finished that up. That's what I worked on today with my brother helped me and Nate helped me. But tonight we could have a very bad thunderstorm. We're under a severe thunderstorm warning and it got me thinking. Right now we rely on the weather, the radar, all of the weather services that you can get on your phone, you can get on your computer. What happened in a grid down situation? We don't have that. That'll be a little scary because you're always going to have to be prepared for storms, especially hurricanes. You'll have a little bit of warning if you're on the coast. You'll see it, but you won't get the warning that we get now. We get warnings a week out, 2 weeks out. We can get 3 weeks out. You know, when the weather starts looking ugly, they track it for us, and it's awesome. What are we going to do when there's nothing to track it? You just got to look outside. I mean, yeah, you can go by the clouds, you can go by the wind, you can go by barometric pressure, but this is nothing compared to the technology we have today that you can just see where the tornado is on the ground. They tell you, hey, it's on the ground. Take shelter now if you're in this area. So what are we going to do? You know, some people say, you know, you can look at the birds, you can look at the leaves curling. I mean, that's good for those people that have done it all their lives. And that's all they had 200 years ago, 300 years ago. But for me, I mean, I can look at some birds flying this way or that way. I'm not going to know other than just looking outside. But it might be too late, especially tornadoes. So what can we do? I mean, if you have a large community, you can definitely have a radio network where you're on there if you know the bad weather is hitting somewhere, and you can monitor it and say, hey, yeah, there's bad weather here, straight line winds, or hey, there's a tornado on the ground. And people could be a little bit more prepared that way. But I think it's just going to be, hey, bad weather, shelter down. So you're going to have your homestead or your property ready at all times. Like at the beach, what do people do? They put up shutters, they plywood everything, but they might not have time to do that. So you're just going to have to be in a more prepared situation. It's going to be worse because if you're relying on your crops and you're relying on the garden that you're growing, and you get bad weather, your garden can be destroyed. Hail can destroy it. Wind can destroy it. Wind can knock all your corn down in a heartbeat. So it'd be rougher. I love having the radar. So we could have a bad storm moving in tonight. And if you look around, yeah, it looks a little stormy. I mean, you can see the clouds. But when a storm hits you at night, it's even worse because you can't go outside and look at anything. So that means you've got to prepare your homestead now if you're in that situation where you don't have the advantage of the radar and the news people and the weather people. So get things done now. Get prepared now. So if you're in that situation, maybe putting shutters on some of if you might have big glass windows or sliding glass doors, maybe it's time now to, hey, let's put some shutters. Let's do this. Let's do that to stormproof our buildings. Because, you know, if we're in a grid down situation, you're not going to have insurance. You know, you can't call State Farm or Allstate and say, hey, I just lost my roof. It might be a situation, a survival situation, or maybe a Great Depression where you don't have the money to maintain certain types of insurance. So I was just thinking about that. I hope you're having a good day. Hope you're working hard. Hope you're getting something done. Hope you're staying positive. Hope you're not just dealing doom and gloom. I'm dealing with, hey, I'm trying to be the most self-reliant American I can be. I'm trying to be so self-reliant I can take care of my family, my grandkids, my kids, and then just extend out there to friends and neighbors that might need the help. Grass is doing good. I think I got to cut it. I think it's to the point where I need to cut it and get some fertilizer on it because it's starting to lay over. I'm actually going to call a buddy that's a landscaper or a yard man and say, hey, I need some help. What's my next step? What's the fertilizer I need to put on there? I've read it on the internet, but I like to talk to someone that's a professional, and he's a professional. It's good to have friends that are professionals in all kinds of things. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for watching.